Hello and welcome back. We have already installed Anaconda in our machine, which out of the box provided us Python. Now the version of Python we are dealing with is 2.7, and Anaconda is a Swiss Army knife which did everything by just having a graphical user interface installer. It installed the Python and all the necessary tools which we require in the journey to learn Python. Now, some of you might be having this question that we want to learn Python, and suddenly I'm downloading some of the tools like Anaconda, Jupyter, and talking about some of the tools which I never want to learn on the first place. I just want to get a hold of Python. I can build my application, or Python can be useful for me, or I can work on the projects which involves Python. Why I need to download and learn Anaconda, Jupyter, and all of these new things. Now, one thing I would like to mention here is when I started my Python journey, I was cynical too, that why I'm going the wrong way, why I should learn Jupyter and install it with Anaconda. It's a command line tool. I should just type the command and get the Python and start coding in it. Now, over time, what I realized that Jupyter made me learn Python much faster. And the code which I practiced and some of the repository I still have for my reference, which I go and look into. So when I'm installing Anaconda, it will provide you with a lot of tools, and one of the tool is the Jupyter. And Jupyter will give you an interface where you can launch Python code, you can launch Python command, and those will be really done on your web browser. So basically you are using your web browser and you are typing the Python code and you are seeing the output there itself, and you are able to also run some of the Python command which you normally will run in your bash, which is the terminal, and get the output and perform those operations as well. Now this act as a reference when you are again doing those things, and you can save them as ipnyb file, which is basically IPython notebook files, which is acting as a reference for your later case. For me, it took a couple of hours to practice in my notebook and get a hold of Python and go into the difficult programs and start working in it. Over time, the idea is to get you comfortable with Python and start working on the projects so you get an experience of the project. But before you start getting the experience, you should know the basics. So Jupyter here will prepare us. Basically, if you are starting from level 0, so you will be actually going into level 2 or 3 in no matter of time if you are using Jupyter and practicing the major code and commands which one need to understand to work with Python. And that is the idea, to cut short the learning curve. Plus, I really like Jupyter's flexibility. Now, let's go ahead and see the Jupyter in action. So what basically we will do now is we have already installed Anaconda. We have Python with us. When we install Anaconda, we got the Python. And we also got Jupyter and many other tools, but we are now only interested in Jupyter because that is the environment where we will be creating our Python code, which is going to be small codes initially, and also run some of the fancy commands which I will show you. Now let's get comfortable with Jupyter environment. There's not much for it to start with, and we will start the Jupyter and start small program of Python. Now before going ahead, I would like to show you that after we install Anaconda, we have also installed Python and what version it is. You can go into your bash, which is basically the terminal, and I will write the command python --version. And this will basically tell me what is the version of Python which Anaconda installation installed in my machine. Now I can do more fancier thing here, but for now we gotta prove that we got the Python in our machine. So let's go ahead and start our Jupyter Notebook and work on the Python code and commands which will be essential for you to understand before going ahead and start touching the Python program for our Sprint 2 of Project Core. So we have now Anaconda. Now here you can see a lot of applications which are coming out of the box. They are Jupyter Lab, Notebook, RStudio, Spider, Qt Console. Now we also have a small description about what this application is going to do. Now let's launch our Jupyter Notebook. Now it will take a couple of seconds depending upon speed of your computer. Now what we are seeing here is our Jupyter Notebook starting up. Now once this messages stopped coming out, if you see the messages here running the core application with no additional extension or setting and everything has been set up, it is giving me a URL here. So basically localhost 8888 is the URL where my Jupyter Notebook will be available. Let's go there, and I'm going to go in an incognito window because this is what it asks when you're trying to log in for first time. Now what you can give here is this particular big string. So this string I can copy here and I can put it here and I will log in. Or if you are somehow not able to copy this and you want to generate it again, then you can also use a command called Jupyter Notebook list. Now what we did here is we misspell Jupyter. Instead of a Y, we mention I. Now let's try with a Y and not misspell list. In few seconds, I will get the same URL which we were able to see in the bash shell here. And basically I will require this token. I will just copy this token. I will open my browser where it's asking me for the password and I will log in. So it's going to show me the folder structure, and basically this will be mostly hidden for you. But what I'm interested in is going into new and creating a new Python notebook. Now what you can do is you can go and create a specific folder where you want to create all your notebook which is related to all the code which you're writing for your learning of the Python, and you can create those notebook inside that. Now I will go inside this Python 2 notebook and it's giving me a what it seems like an input, and it seems like some of the option in the header. To really walk you through how we use this particular notebook is, first thing I will do is give a name to this notebook. Let's try to give it my first notebook, a very complicated name. And we miss the camel case, be capital and rename. So this is for Python, a very simple name indeed. So let's go ahead and try to use this notebook. Now the second thing is, if I want to type any command here, I can just press my key in this particular input box and it will turn to green. Now I can write anything here, and mostly we will be writing Python code here. So the first thing we are going to do is write a hello world. So I'll say print hello world. Basically to run this particular line, I can press Control and enter, and it will give me the result below this particular inbox. If I want to do some more coding, then I can press Shift enter and it will add a new line. And basically I can write anything here. Let's try to create a variable a equal to 10, and then I can press enter. It will go into the next line. I will say b equal to 20 and I will say c equal to a plus b. So this is a very simple mathematical operation, and what we want to do is print A, B, and C. So some of the things which you are seeing here is there is no semicolon here, as if you are coming from JavaScript or C background, no semicolon at the end. There is also print, which is basically going to print ABC. It's separated by a simple comma. So let's try to see what we get. So if you're guessing that it will give me an error, then you're wrong. It actually prints the values. Let's try to have a little more fun with Python. Now you are totally new, you don't know much about Python. Now what fancy thing from your previous experience of programming you can pull out? Let's try to write a small block of code which involves strings. So basically if I'm using string, then I would be using double quotes, right? Yeah, so let's say it's a string and b equal to, let's say, number, and I have a c, and I will try to do some of the experiment with Python. A plus b, I will try to say print c. Can you guess what will be the output? If you are from C or C++ world or Java world, you will say it will give an error. And if you are from a JavaScript world, then you're saying that it will concatenate both A and B and provide me a string 20 in the output. So let's go ahead and check. So basically when it is star, which was there for quite a while, that means it's trying to run. Now the people who are from C and C++ world and Java world have guessed it correct. It didn't did any implicit typecasting and basically give you a type error. So this is what you get a lot of time initially when you're working with Python, a type error. It also shows where in your program you went wrong, which is at line number 3. Cannot concatenate string and integer objects. A very simple explanation for your failure. So anyway, don't get upset because we have not started the journey of learning Python. So let's catch up in the next section where I will share your future plans to learn Python. Now, after we try to pull this off, what we have realized that we need to understand a little bit about the Python and how the programming is different from other programming language. It's basically having a lot of similarity, like if else conditions are here, while loops, for loops, variables, functions, string functions, a lot of them. List, search arrays, which are similar to some of the programming language which we are working from past. So in the next section, we are going to start some of the basic terminologies of programming in Python. So let's go ahead and do that. Hey there, check out UI5CN for awesome hands-on courses on enterprise technologies like SAP and more. To watch similar videos, subscribe to UI5CN YouTube channel.